So when I was going home for Christmas, I listened to a covers playlist I made on Spotify. Of course, it's got your classics, Mrs. Robinson by the Lemonheads, All Along the Watchtower by Hendrix, When the Levee Breaks by Perfect Circle. Listen to that when you get a chance. It's insane. And then it's got shit like Viva La Vida by Weezer, the Willy Wonka soundtrack by Primus, you know, some more underground stuff. Now, I'm always down for covers, I got no issue with that, but there needs to be a reason to listen to it over the original. It doesn't need to reinvent the wheel, but it should be more than just the same instrumental with a new singer and the shitty breakdown in E minor for good measure. As long as there's an attempt to make a cover unique, that's all that matters, even if it sucks. So today I want to go over some of my favorite covers that are so much their own thing, I genuinely prefer them over the original. None of these are in a particular order or specific to an artist or genre. Whatever I thought sounded cool is on the list. Let's start with this one. Alright, I'm gonna say something a little controversial. I don't think Frank Ocean is the gift of God everyone else thinks he is. Channel Orange and Blonde are great albums, but it's hard to stay invested when he hasn't released anything in 4 years, and of course, bombing at Coachella. So color me pink and white when I found CLEOPATRICK's cover of Lost. I was a bit hesitant to listen to it since that song was everywhere on TikTok. I don't even have that shit installed, and I still think it was overplayed. But CLEOPATRICK brings a whole new life to it. First thing I noticed was how much presence the drums have. In Frank's version, the beat stays in the pocket, it doesn't really build or do anything crazy. Meanwhile, CLEOPATRICK's beat is pushing the song. It gets aggressive during the choruses, the gain is cranked on the kick drum, it's simple and makes me want to dance, but Frank's is like a gentle sway and Cleo's is aggressive gyrating. The presence is also in service to the other instruments. Frank's version uses a bunch of stuff: keys, bass, vocal layering, guitar layering. Cleo's only using vocals and really gritty guitar. These guys are only a duo, so it makes sense they're filling as much space as they can. If you guys want a cover that captures the essence of the original but changes the sound completely, check this one out. Andy Warhol looks so sweet. If I had a nickel for every time a 90s band covered Bowie's and it was better than the original, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's funny it happened twice. Next we got Stone Temple Pilots' cover of Andy Warhol, one of my favorite Bowie songs. I know that's a weird pick, but I played this for my mom on Christmas, so it's special to me, leave me alone. On the surface, this one doesn't change the original that drastically, but it feels more like a continuation, I guess. The bass guitar plays the hooks, there's a lot of cool percussion with bongos and shakers. I feel these would have been in Bowie's version if he wrote this song with a full band instead of just 2 guitars. It's also nice I don't gotta wait 45 seconds for this version to start, and there's a snippet of a jam in the outro that's way better than Bowie's outro, which honestly is kind of a mess. The only recording I could find of this was on the super deluxe version of KORN, so if you want to hear it, you gotta do just a little bit of digging, but I promise it's worth it. I took a Louisville Slugger to both headlights, slashed a hole in... This ain't no disrespect to Carrie Underwood. Her version of Before He Cheats still kicks absolute ass. Its swagger is unmatched and words cannot do her voice justice. That said, I've heard this song so many damn times. I'm not even a southern boy and I know it like the back of my hand. Then over the summer, my friends Squall and Catherine showed me the AMIGO The Devil's cover, and let's just say, it stimulated my neurons. Instead of having a full band and being all explosive like Carrie's, AMIGO's version is just vocals, acoustic guitar, and nature ambience. Out of all the things that changes between versions, I'm most fixated on how it affects the lyrics and overall tone. The song's about a woman getting revenge on her boyfriend for cheating by committing property damage. In Carrie's version, the arrangement makes it come off as empowering and badass, like the subject saying, "Fuck you, I never needed you in the first place." Meanwhile, AMIGO's is way more somber. It's like the subject was so hurt by her boyfriend cheating, womp stomping his truck seemed like the only way she could express that pain. Probably looking into it too much, but you know, that's just my interpretation. This one's basically Before He Cheats but in reverse. Bob Dylan's Tambourine Man only has vocals, guitar, and harmonica. Meanwhile, the BYRDS version is played with a full band and actually has tambourine in it. That alone puts it above the original. I love how dreamy the BYRDS version is. The guitars are really pretty, the tempo's slowed down so they can linger more on the vocal melodies, but despite being slower, their version isn't even half as long as Bob's. I don't have a joke for this, I just thought it was funny. Also, before anyone asks, yes, I did see A Complete Unknown, and yes, I did think the studio bassist was JonTron. I don't think it was, but I swear to God it looked just like him. Tell your brother, your sister, and your mama My friend once gave me some very wise words. KORN is just a funk band that tunes down. And after hearing their cover of Word Up by Cameo, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I still like the original, but it's a disco song from the 80s, meaning it meanders after the first 3 minutes and sounds empty at points. KORN's version is way more engaging. It's still around the same tempo, but the distorted guitars, rattly bass, and heavier drums help the pace so much. Honestly, the only annoying thing about this cover is recommending it to people. They'll either laugh in your face for recommending a KORN song, or they'll spit in your face for recommending a KORN song. Just give it a shot. It's groovy as hell, less than 3 minutes long. What do you got to lose? Yeah, nu metal is cringe, but so is disco. It's a double negative of cringe, so it's not cringe at all. You're safe. You're fine. Don't worry. Heavens to Betsy, this cover is insane. So, full disclosure, out of all the covers I'm looking at, this one definitely changes the least compared to the original, at least instrumentally. And I know that kind of goes against what I said in the intro, but honestly, I don't care. Holy shit, Miley's voice is amazing. I used to hate this song for years, solely because I thought Blondie's singer is annoying. She can hit notes, but her upper register is so whiny it ruined the whole song for me. But then hearing Miley belt this thing 6 ways from Sunday, I realized how much of a bop Heart of Glass is. The clave beat when it randomly goes to 7/4, those are two things that'll always win me over. Miscellaneous percussion and odd time signatures. Same thing with Andy Warhol, I can only find a live version of this cover, but I feel the extra bit of energy that comes with live music makes it even better. Again, it doesn't change a lot, but it made me like a song I never liked before, so that's gotta count for something. Massive shout out to my old bass teacher Chris for showing me this cover. SOULIVE is a really good fusion trio that I can't recommend enough, especially their album Rubber Soul Live. If you can't tell by that genius title, it's full of Beatles covers like Taxman, Come Together, Help, Guitar Gently Weeps, and my favorite, ELANOR RIGBY. The best part, it's completely instrumental. The guitar plays most of the vocal melodies while the drums and keys jam the whole time. It's actually one of the few covers I'm talking about that's longer than the original. The first half follows the original structure pretty well, but by the end they're just like, nah, let's just have fun. I love the idea of jamming on covers, especially if it's a song everyone knows like ELANOR RIGBY. Do something you always wanted to hear the original song do. Add new sections, tempo changes, key changes, peaks, valleys, all that stuff. Talking about jamming gets me very excited. This song sounds like a jazzy car chase. It gets my utmost respect. Picking a favorite Ramones song is like picking your favorite toothpaste. You're just like, that one, I guess. The only reason HAVANA Fair is my favorite is because of the Chili Peppers version. This one isn't as fast or aggressive as the original. It's more melodic and kind of psyche. Guitars are constantly being added in and building on each other, some background synths to fill space, and the vocal melodies. Oh my goodness. My favorite part is the last verse where everything comes together and it's just incredible. It's interesting to me how the Chili Peppers took a pretty simple song and came up with all these harmonies and parts. Again, it's not as in your face as the Ramones version, but it still captures the spirit of the original. In fact, Johnny Ramone liked it so much, he made it the opening track for a Ramones tribute album that came out shortly before he died. If that isn't something, then I don't know what is. I have no hot or controversial takes about Metallica. I think they're great, but you're not coming to me for dad rock insight. Justice for All would be their best album if you could hear the bass. That's all I got. But a couple of years ago, they released the Metallica Blacklist. This was a bunch of covers off the Black Album to celebrate its 30th anniversary. And there's a lot of really good stuff on here. Sad But True by Royal Blood, Enter Sandman by Ghost, The God That Failed by Idols. But one of my favorites is Off doing Holier Than Thou. I never thought the original was that great, to be honest. It's kind of slow and just, it exists. Off's version is just pure chaos. It's faster, the drums are way more interesting, no offense Lars, and horns just come out of nowhere by the end. If you like the Black Album but want it to sound like 80s Metallica, listen to this cover please, oh my god. Generals gathered in their masses. War Pigs is the song I've heard covered the most out of anything ever of all time ever, especially live. And sadly, most of the time people don't do it justice, which, you know, for a song as badass as War Pigs, that's essentially a war crime. But you know who made a really unexpectedly good cover of it, besides T-Pain? Cake. This cover is probably the most its own thing out of all of these. It uses Sabbath's version as a template and then just goes to town. The bass doesn't follow the guitar as much here, it now acts as a constant through the song with these really groovy syncopated notes. Everything else changes around it. My favorite part is the main dun-dun, dun-dun-dun part. In the original, it's more focused around the drum fills, but in Cake's version, they add horns, organs, and these weird-ass slide whistles or siren things. I can't tell which it is. There aren't as many pauses and breaks as in the original, and Cake's version does cut out the 3/4 intro, but I feel it helps it make it more concise. I really like Sabbath's version, but the studio one is almost 8 minutes long. That's not a problem live, because you want that shit to go on for as long as humanly possible, but when you're listening to it in the car and it repeats itself after 5 minutes, you just really want to skip to like Electric Funeral or Jack the Stripper or something. Remember when I said these were in no particular order? Yeah, that was a lie. I saved my favorite for last. No Vacations cover, A Waltzing Back by the Cranberries. For starters, I already like the original a lot. It's dreary, the instruments sound super roomy, and the outro just goes bazonkers. No Vacations is more subdued. It doesn't have the same peaks and valleys as the original. It's like a dreamy ominous. I don't know how to explain it, but the more shoegazy sound is really pretty. But the biggest thing that makes me love this cover is it's in a different time signature. The original, as the name implies, is a waltz, meaning it's in 3/4. Meanwhile, No Vacations version is in 4/4, meaning it has one extra beat per measure. I could talk all day about time signatures and shit, and a lot of it would probably be wrong because I'm still learning myself, but just the idea of that alone is crazy. It's one thing to change the style or instrumentation of a song, but this is on a whole different level. Literally the first time I heard this, I had no idea it was a cover. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys for watching. I put a link to a Spotify playlist with all these covers and their original versions in the description. Please recommend me some more covers too. I might do another one of these in the future. Or maybe covers I like less than the original. I got a few in mind that'll probably stir the pot. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go make a metal cover of Dynamite by The Roots in 5/4. I'll see you guys later. Bye.